Hi there, welcome. Thanks for watching. Today I'm going to talk about something that's impacting a lot of my clients, and that is the accelerated amount of change that they need to deal with in their roles and in their jobs. In fact, the change can come in terms of trends that are in the marketplace, workplace technologies that they need to adopt and adjust to bosses that are changing. Many of my clients have seen 2 to 3 bosses in the last 18 months. One of my clients saw 7 bosses in the last 18 months. And so the type of churn that's going on in the workplace and how change impacts their ability to perform. And so your ability to manage change is incredibly important these days in the workplace. So today I thought I'd give you a couple of ideas. So one piece of work that I really like by Dr. Evian Gordon talks about thinking traps. So one of the things that is not helpful is to fall in some of these thinking traps as it relates to changes that are coming down the pipe. So I'll just walk through each of the 6 thinking traps and see if you can see yourself in some of them as it relates to when you're trying to manage change. So the first one is called catastrophizing. Catastrophizing is a thinking trap where no matter what happens, we tend to treat it like a catastrophe. So for instance, we get a new boss and it's like a catastrophe that we have a new boss. Catastrophizing thinking just elevates our stress levels, and it's actually not very rational. It is a thinking habit that I do see in people that are having change continuously thrust upon them, because with each incremental change, they tend to bring all of the nervous energy around the last change, which creates this accelerated pattern of catastrophizing change. The second thinking trap is black and white thinking. So black and white thinking is when we say it's all bad or it's all good, but generally it's all bad, like nothing good can come from this. It's very absolute. And black and white thinking is not helpful because nothing is black and white. But we do get into a thinking trap sometimes around black and white thinking around a change. The third thinking trap I want you to think about is the should-haves. So these are all the regrets. So change will come about us and we say, oh, I should have paid more attention, or I should have this, or I should have that. It's really a lot of wasted energy when we get into should-haves, or I should have changed jobs, or I should have. So that is another thinking trap. That's the third thinking trap. The fourth thinking trap is jumping to conclusions. So before we even understand anything about the logic of the change that is coming down, or the direction or the vision, we jump to conclusions and we come up with our own storylines, and we really shut down our listening. The fifth is overgeneralizing. So overgeneralizing is when we hear the words always and never. Whenever we are experiencing a change and we find ourselves saying always and never, we know that we're inching into black and white thinking. It's another version of all good or all bad. And there's an implied permanence around this particular situation, always or never, creating a certain outcome. And the last thinking trap that I'll talk about is the entitlement thinking trap. And the entitlement thinking trap, it's not just about rewards and benefits, but is the type of thinking where you just think you don't deserve something, or you do deserve something. So you feel very victimized. You feel victimized or justified in something happening or not happening to you. So those are the 6 thinking traps. And the way I want you to think about them is I just want you to catch yourself when you are encountering a change and see if you are often getting stuck in these thinking traps, because frankly, they're just not helpful. So let me give you some ideas of what could help us, what helps us navigate change. And for this, I want to just share with you a tiny little thing about the brain. So our brain really hates change. I've talked about this, I think, in the past. Our brain is not wired for change. It's wired for comfort and safety and familiarity. And so change is difficult on our brain. And so what we want to do is we do want to minimize our change. So one of the things I get when my clients are worried about a change that's happening in their environment, I try to make sure that they're conscious of all the things that are not changing. So for instance, they may be getting a new boss, but they have the same spouse, they have the same same house, they have the same wife, they have the same company, they have the same job, they have so much richness of stability in their lives that this is just one factor, and it doesn't need to sort of take over more space than it deserves. So that is one way, is really to make sure you're itemizing all the things that are not changing so that you can calm your brain down and say there's a heck of a lot of things that are not changing here, and yes, we're going to navigate around this little change. The other thing is our bodies and our brains really enjoy two feel-good chemicals. One is dopamine and one is oxytocin. Dopamine is released when we see ourselves making progress, when we see ourselves with small little successes. So as you encounter change, make sure you're mapping out all of the little steps and all of the mini successes that you're navigating through as you navigate this change. And that will allow your body to reap the benefits of some feel-good chemicals that keep us motivated. And the second is oxytocin. And oxytocin is released when we connect with other people and when we share our successes with other people. So make sure as your team is navigating a change or a company is navigating a change, you're spending the time to share with each other the obstacles that you're tackling and how you're overcoming things. So make sure that you are both minimizing the change, but then actually celebrating the progress towards the change. So that's my tip for this week. Minimize the change in your head and give yourself some real steps along the way that you can celebrate and share with others to be able to navigate this very dynamic and exciting workplace that we all are participating in. Thanks very much. Thanks for watching. Have a great week. Bye.